Hey friends, let's move through a yoga massage practice for the backs of the shoulders. So grab your foam roller, grab a racquetball or a tennis ball, and I'll meet you seated. All right, so I've come down into a seat. I have my foam roller just behind me. I'm gonna start to lean back, bringing my spine back onto my foam roller, and I'm gonna try to bring it right around to the tips, the bottom tips of my shoulder blade. So it's not under the low back, it's not up high toward the neck, right around the base of the shoulder blade. And then I'm gonna bring my hands to the base of my skull, interlace my fingers, and my arms are just here to support my head as I move, not to pull my head forward. I'm going to press into my feet, float my hips, and then start to rock forward and backward, rolling that foam roller up to the tops of the shoulders, not as far as the neck, down to the tip of the shoulder blade. And find this nice, slow, controlled movement up and down. The breath should be easy and soft. If it's causing any discomfort, just pause. Spend a moment inviting those tissues to relax, inviting the breath to soften. If and when you feel ready, starting a rolling or just move a little bit in one direction, pause. Tune into the sensation of those tissues, inviting them to soften, inviting the breath to be easy. Rolling a couple more times each direction, or if you're in stillness, a couple more breaths. And then the next time that foam roller comes right to the tips of the shoulder blades, pause. Let your hips float back down to your mat. And then allowing the head, neck, shoulders to relax back over your foam roller. Find a big heart opener, letting those elbows draw out to the sides. Getting ready to slow lift our way back up. The hands support the head as we start to lift, and then we release the hands, bring them to the foam roller or to the floor. Help press, support yourself as you back up to a seat, and then take a moment just to move the shoulders around. So draw them back, forward, shrug them up, make some little circles, give them a shake. And we'll rotate our foam roller so it's now long ways on our mat. We're going to bring the base right to the base of the hip. So when we lift up onto it, our tailbone is right at the end. The idea being that as we lay back down on it, we want our head to be supported. So using the support of my arms as I make my way back, again, I'm checking really close to the end so that as I come down, head is resting, not hanging. And then I'm going to keep my arms fairly close into the body for now with the palms face down, or they can be slightly wide. Feet are wide enough that I feel nice and supported as I start a side to side rocking movement on my foam roller. So I roll left, that foam roller settles into the space between that right scapula and the spine. You'll feel it in the glute too, bonus. Rolling back through center and then over to that second side. And again, just checking in that the tissues are relaxed, the breath should be relaxed. If it feels like too much at any point, just pause, spend a few breaths, seeing if you could soften a little more into those tissues. And the next time you roll left, pause. So that foam roller is now resting in those soft tissues between the right scapula, right shoulder blade, and spine. And then notice, is there anything in this right shoulder that's hanging on for dear life? And if so, could we just invite softness? Relaxing those tissues down over the support of the foam roller. Finding another breath this side, and then we'll move back to that rocking either direction. Coming to one side, foam roller finds that little massage, opposite side, other direction. And then the next time you come to the right, pause. Notice the difference this side with that foam roller resting in the soft tissues between left shoulder blade and spine. See if you can invite a little more softness and ease, allowing those tissues to soften into the support of your foam roller. Finding another full breath cycle this side. And then beginning that slow roll side to side. And then next time you land in the center, pause. So whole spine and head resting on that foam roller again. And now we're going to tune in a little bit to what's happening in the fronts of our shoulders. So turn your hands palm face up and then start to slowly invite your hands out a little wider until you get a good stretch across the fronts of the shoulders. So for some of us, we're still going to be a little low. We're already going to have a good stretch. We're going to pause there. For some of us, we're going to bring those arms out a little wider. Maybe we'll find a good stretch. For some of us, maybe we want to bring those arms a little higher. If all of these are a little too intense, go ahead and bring your fingers back to the base of your skull, interlacing those fingers at the back of the head, and then just let the elbows draw down and out. So finding that variation that feels like a good level of stretch, but nothing that feels like it's trying to jerk you back up, pull those arms back up. Invite a few long, slow, deep breaths. Starting to slowly release the arms, bring them back down alongside the hips so we can use the support of our arms to roll over to one side. So we're just going to start to come over to one side. We're just going to roll ourselves oh so gracefully down off the foam roller. Let that foam roller roll to the side and let your whole spine and shoulders come back down onto your mat for a moment. And half Shavasana, half corpse pose. Feel the weight of both those shoulders relax fully down onto your mat. And then we'll press up to a seat just long enough to find our racquetball or tennis ball, or if it's in reach, stay right where you are and grab it. Still in our half corpse pose. We're going to bring the ball just behind the top part of our trapezius. So there's this ropey part that runs across the top of the shoulder that we could grab onto, and our placement is going to be just behind that to start with. So I'm going to lift my shoulders just a little bit, bring that ball just behind, let both shoulders completely relax fully down into the support of the mat, and then I'm going to press into my feet, float my hips, press further into my feet, trying to push my whole body weight back toward my ball. Either hold that and find your breath, or push-pull with the feet, getting a little bit of vibration, rocking toward that racquetball. Pause, roll yourself up a little bit. So now that racquetball is between the spine and the top part of your right shoulder blade. Let your hips float back down to your mat. Start to pick up that right arm, point the fingertips up toward the ceiling, and then pull that arm all the way solidly down into your shoulders, shoulder socket, shoulder joint, and then lift those fingers up toward the ceiling. Draw back down. Draw back down, give that arm a little shake, and then just start to move that arm organically in whatever way feels good. It can cross the body, it can come out to the side, it can go overhead, you can make some circles. And pause. Roll yourself up a little further. So now that racquetball is between the middle or lower part of your shoulder blade and your spine. Take that hand up toward the ceiling, reach, pull that arm down into the shoulder socket, reach, pull back down. One more time, reach, draw back down, and then start to just move that arm around, making sure that you're still breathing. Breath is easy and soft. And finding stillness this side. Roll yourself over just enough that you can slide that racquetball out. That whole spine, both shoulders rest fully down onto your mat. Notice. And then moving towards second side. So first we're placing that ball just behind that part of the trap that goes across the top of the shoulder. We press into our feet, lift our hips, and then press more fully into the feet, pushing your whole body weight back against your ball. Pause and breathe, or pushing up, down, vibration or oscillation, very relaxing for the nervous system. Pause, roll yourself up a little bit, find that placement for your ball. Lift that left arm, float the hips back down to the mat. Reach and retract, reach and retract, reach and retract. Begin to move that arm however feels juicy. Getting ready to roll yourself up for a second placement this side. Bringing the body up, ball rolls down between middle or base of the shoulder blade and spine on that side. And retract, reach, and retract, reach, and retract. Moving that arm. Finding stillness. Rolling yourself to the side enough, you can slide that ball out. Let whole spine, backs of both shoulders fully relax down into the support of your mat. Taking a moment of noticing. Getting ready to slow press or rock and roll your way up toward a seat. And again, shrugging the shoulders a few times or drawing them forward and backward, making some bigger shoulder circles, whatever sort of movement feels good. And I invite you to play a little bit with that. Always an option to make that a longer practice, staying relaxed in the tissues and relaxed in the breath. Enjoy.